Hi, I'm Grego. I'm the promoter and director of UNUM Festival. Festival taking place from the 3rd of June to the 7th of June 2021 in Shenzhen, Albania. We hope to see you there.
Can you hear me screaming from the inside?
Well, yeah, definitely. There's a comparison made to Croatia quite a lot, actually. I'd say that Albania as a country is actually altogether unexplored, really, not just as a dance music destination. That's for a lot of reasons. Its history, its communist past, also the fact, that area of the world was engaged in, obviously, it was a war-torn part of the world up until the late 90s. So it's a relatively virgin area in terms of tourism, and completely unexplored on that level. I'm sure that no doubt in 10 to 15 years it will be similar to Croatia, but I think for us, we're working closely with the government. They want to build tourism there. It's at a very embryonic stage in terms of music. It's cheap, the people are friendly, the food's great there. It's very close to obviously the rest of Western Europe. It's not that difficult to get to, and I think really as a destination, it has. The benefits of going to somewhere like Albania at the minute is it's at its virgin embryonic stage, so there's a sense of sort of freedom and liberty you probably might not get in other places. I think essentially because obviously, as time passes with a lot of things, controls come in, and that's just how it kind of goes. But that's why we have a non-stop festival that runs for 5 days, 24-hour music and no sound restrictions. These types of things that a sense of freedom and liberty you kind of can't get really in other places. In terms of dance music specifically, to answer your question, yes, we are very much looking at developing the scene there, making it into a destination resort. In the south of the country, you already have some of the festivals taking place there at one site. Kala is the main one they have, but I think with our one we're hoping to do something. We've obviously been around for a couple of years now, but we're hoping to bring other brands in and make it not necessarily just like how Croatia's done their model, because we're hoping to build the scene for the locals as well, and to make it a destination for people in that region rather than just import people for a week or a weekend. So the idea behind our festival obviously is that you have an experience around that, a cultural experience, so that there is a sense of adventure and a sense of mystique about it. You don't know exactly where you're going, and you've never been there before. They speak in a different language. You've never experienced the food before. All of that builds into that hedonistic kind of experience and magical kind of aspect of what we're offering really in the package. I think that's definitely a part of it. I think the fact that we're at the start of this process obviously is also a big thing, because I kind of compare it to being in Ibiza in the late 80s, or being in Croatia 20 years ago, or being in Detroit 30 years ago, or wherever it might be. That's the moment now for Albania, and you don't get many of those moments anymore where it is in that situation. It's normally sanitized a bit, or you're paying agents big fees and artists big fees, and it's kind of not got the magic it once had. But certainly in our case, that's still there. Yeah, so Shenzhen is the name of the town resort. It's a really small, actually, kind of tourist resort, I guess you would call it, but it's only busy a couple of months of the year in sort of July and August for Albanian tourists. It's a really tiny place, and with military installation, obviously, all Albania. There's many of them all over Albania, but that's no longer in use, obviously. It's right on the coast, on the Adriatic. It's about 45 minutes from Tirana, which is Albania's capital, which makes it really easy for transfers. So the location itself, the festival site, one of the key things about this site is that it's actually really quite small. You can go from the three main stages. We have a main stage, a beach stage, and a pine stage. You can go walk around each stage. You could walk around all three within 5 minutes. It's that close, but they're all in distinct areas. The key aspects of what the festival offers is, we wanted to marry up the kind of nature aspect of it, but have that holiday beach feel to it. So luckily we've been able to combine the fact that this location has the mountains, the beautiful scenery there, and the backdrop of the pine trees, which is also an interesting connection for me because obviously my background's in Ibiza, and Ibiza and Formentera are known as the Pine Islands. So I'm once again dealing with pine trees, but we have a specific dance area which is the Pine Stage, which is where most of our main headliners actually play on the kind of minimal techno side of things. And then we have a beach stage, which is obviously right on the beach. But you know, this isn't just for show. You know, you can dance in the water if you want to. You know, it's right there, and we get beautiful sunsets over the Adriatic as well. Just as the main stage is beginning, which has become a key kind of photo opportunity, if you like, for the festival. We run the festival non-stop, so actually the site itself is really integral to what this is all about. This isn't just, as I mentioned before, this isn't just 3 arenas in 3 big large marquees. They're all open air, so they're all uncovered. The beach stage opens, and when that closes, the main stage opens. When the main stage opens, the beach stage opens again, so there's a continuous flow. And then with the Pine Stage, which is obviously under the pine trees, but kind of a bit out of the way and a little bit more secretive and a little bit, I'm not saying you wouldn't be able to find it if you didn't know it was there, because everyone finds it, but that's got its own little vibe going on, and that runs 24 hours a day for the 5-6 days of the festival. So I think it's incredibly damaging what's happened, and yes, I do think it's going to take us a while for it to come back from this, and it probably could cause permanent damage. The only good thing is that because it's only been going on for a year now, I appreciate it does feel like longer, that it really won't have the lasting impact it could have had if this continues. And it looks like, again, fingers crossed, it looks like we're kind of heading out of this. I mean, I'm a dance music culture fanatic, and as with any subculture, and that's what dance music culture is really. And I know it's become mainstream, but really the culture at its core is still a subculture. It needs oxygen to survive, and we've been kind of starved of that for the last 12 months. So what does that mean in practice? It means, well, the kids who might have gone for the festival last year, they didn't get the chance to go and do that. And now they might have gone off in a different path and direction altogether. They might never go to festivals. It might just be a thing that they never do. They might enjoy music, they might enjoy going to a concert, but they might not enjoy that side of the culture. I put the same credence to, you know, people who go to Ibiza. You know, if you don't go to Ibiza when you're 16, 17, 18, 19 or whatever, there's a chance that you might not ever go. Whereas if you go during that time, you'll always go and you'll always keep going. And then what's the knock-on effect of that? Well, it means that if you've got a younger brother who's 14 or 15, or a friend who's that age, they always look up to those people and say, well, okay, well, my 18-year-old brother's gone to Ibiza, that's what I want to do. If those people aren't doing that and they're joining the boating club or going for walks or cooking, which is all fine, then you'll probably grow up and do the same. So there's a chance that the permanent damage could come from there. The good thing is that if we are on our way out of this problem, that it will have only been a temporary blip, hopefully, and it's really important that people like me, like you, are able to continue championing the scene and doing our thing, because it means the quicker we can get back to doing what we love and what we've always done, then the better. And it means that those 16 to 19-year-olds who've never taken that trip yet, or not had the opportunity to do it, and the same goes for traveling. Actually, you know, there might be a whole generation of people at a certain age who just never want to travel because they physically couldn't do it. I think generally speaking, it will be harder to run festival and club events for a while, probably 1 to 2 years. There might be additional costs and restrictions around the situation that's going on, which we don't really know exactly what they're going to be yet. But there could be an element of additional cost. Travel, we know, is an issue obviously at the moment, and probably is going to continue to be an issue for a while. So I actually think this is the time when perhaps boutique festivals are kind of highlighted. Well, UNUM isn't quite a boutique festival. I guess it is in some ways. We're a bit of a mix, really. We're a destination festival as well. But I think festivals, if you've got a festival that's under 10,000 people, it's probably been harder for you to keep going because you're obviously not a big corporation, but those are the places I think people might be looking towards to have an experience, because money's not exactly available as much as it was before for people, and they're gonna have to choose wisely what they go for. But I think the recent events have definitely caused a shift, and The damage could be permanent for certain people, but hopefully, as I said, we've been starved of oxygen, but now the lifeline's coming back a bit, so.
I think you're so damn beautiful.
I mean, in an ideal world, you'd only have the right people come to your festival and it'd be sold out. You know, I'm speaking from a promoter hat on here. Obviously, in the real world, there's an element of, you know, whoever wants to come to your festival and is willing to buy a ticket, then that they are the right people, really. I think that's probably the first thing to say. You know, we appreciate that people come into this festival, and this has been hugely significant for us, that people come into this festival. We realise it's not just going down the road or getting in a car and driving a few hours. For some people it is over in Albania, but for most people it involves getting on a plane, going to a place they've never been to before, trying to book a hotel through booking.com, which doesn't have hotels in that region yet, trying to get responses, and you're not getting responses because the infrastructure isn't really there at the minute, all these problems. So that's why the first edition was really kind of so special, because it was we knew everyone who was there, and that included a lot of people we invited, people from the industry, artists who weren't even playing, agents, people from clubs all over the world, our friends and partners. We invited them, and anyone who came, we knew they'd made an effort to be there, so that was a hugely important aspect of it. And I think that's so in that sense, the people that were there were the right people. That's what made it special. I think, you know, if speaking generally, I think in terms of what makes the right people, you know, if you're trying to balance your books and you've got a P&L to think about, then anyone who buys a ticket and makes your festival succeed and actually be able to function is the right person. I think it'd be great to only have arty farty music clued up people, but in the end, anyone who's willing to buy a ticket is welcome. You know, I think one of the things, and to go back to Ibiza, you know, Ibiza is kind of the epitome of, if you've got a ticket, you can go in and see that event. There's almost no dress code in Ibiza. I know sometimes people wish that there might be a door policy in Ibiza like you might have in Berlin, but actually, you know, my point of view on this thing is that dance music culture really isn't about excluding people and making people conform to certain things. It's the opposite. If anything, it's about being free and liberty and accepting people and being different. And so in Ibiza, even though it might sound strange, the fact that you can stand in somewhere like Pasha or, you know, in Space, good examples, or go to DC10 and you can have a supermodel on one side, a footballer on the next side, a kid from Liverpool standing in front of them, and someone from Brazil dancing behind you is what dance music's all about. And our festival is the same. You know, we don't exclude anyone. And one of the amazing things is that because we tried to take that approach, we haven't just targeted Brits, or we just haven't targeted Spanish people or German people, or just made it for locals. We wanted it to be truly international. That meant that you know, we've had a real fair share of people from all over Europe and beyond. You know, and when you're a promoter and you hear of people having travelled from America to go to your festival in Albania, it's the best feeling. Honestly, it's the best feeling in the world. You know, there were kids from Manchester who I know came, and they'd never been to a club before, they'd never been to a festival before. They came and they said they saw it, they heard, I think they knew one of the artists, they Joseph Capriati, they knew this was the first edition, they knew he was good, they wanted to come, so they booked this whole trip to come, and honestly it took my breath away that they'd done that. But that's the point of you know, why we do these events, is to get people who are music lovers, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be clued up or be, you know, the coolest person around. Anyone who's going to come and enjoy the music, then great. Yeah, obviously with the lineup, you filter out people who, you know, you think are going to make the right crowd. That's how it works. But there's no reason to say that in the future we wouldn't develop in one direction or another. You know, as is common knowledge, you know, dance music is very cynical as well when it comes to genres and who's cool and what's not cool. And when something isn't cool, it isn't cool, full stop. So, you know, we've had artists who are main headliner and the key artist for one person, and then other people thought they weren't cool. It's all a balancing act, really. But I think with festivals in general, I think it's it's important to know what it's significant that festival knows what's important for them. What I mean by that is that for us, obviously music is really at the forefront, but I know for other festivals, things like environmental sustainability are really important, or they want to have a family atmosphere, or they want it to be cheap. So if you have that at the core of whatever the festival's objective is, then and those people come who believe in that, then that's probably the best balance you can have, really.